Back with another video for TDS, and today we're going to be talking about the release event for TDS. So this is a pretty mixed feeling event by everyone, but let's go ahead and dissect every single part of this event one at a time. First and foremost, the battle pass. Honestly, this is a okay-ish battle pass. There were some skins in here that were pretty okay, like the Ghost, Rocketeer, Werewolf Commander, and even also the, of course, Tier 100 Pursuit skin. Look at this bad puppy. Jesus Christ, it is such a good skin. One of the best skins probably in the entirety game of TDS in general. And if it wasn't for this skin, I think this battle pass would have been not as great, just like the engineer skin in this battle pass. But honestly, I think I'm giving this battle pass a 6.5 out of 10. Maybe even a 7 if I'm feeling generous, but I think that around that range is just about right. And now finally we can go into the big parts about this whole update, and those are the nights. So there's night 1, 2, and 3, and every single one of them are fairly different, especially the first night compared to the second night. The first night honestly was pretty simple. It wasn't really that bad. In easy mode, there was not even a single issue. In hard mode, it was also just not that big of a deal. It was honestly a pretty solid time. However, once we get to night 2, Night 2 was extremely different, like immensely different, because the difficulty curve is just a sharp turn. Hard mode went from night 1 being it wasn't really that bad, to night 2 being insane. Like, it just got a lot harder, but to be fair, you are given a much more bigger path, especially how there's one corner of the map in night 2 where it's a U-turn, giving you a little bit more time to take them down. However, that doesn't really excuse the fact that this night was a pain in the ass to deal with, especially the bosses. We literally have a boss that is spammed 3 times in this whole event. The first 2 times is the Null Pyromancer that appears one after another, or pretty much together, on a specific wave that both have like 70,000 HP, and a few rounds later he also appears again, this time with 100,000 plus HP. And also, let's not forget that there is a Null medic where she can essentially heal all her other teammates and herself, and I'm just like, fucking hell, man. But again, it wasn't that bad, but it was still really hard. And of course, we cannot forget the final boss, who for some reason spawned minion clones of himself that had 30,000 HP each. Jesus Christ, dude. And also, this guy was just pretty damn fast also. And if you thought night 2 was bad, night 3 was a whole lot worse. Somehow they managed to make night 3 much harder than night 2, which I mean is expected since it's literally the final night, but I thought night 3 wasn't going to be as bad as night 2. First and foremost, you're given a much bigger map, and you've also given a U-turn square at the very start of the map, which is very nice. However, the amount of time you are given for every single wave is laughable. You are literally given 20 to 30 seconds per wave, which of course is not enough time to take down these enemies that are all beefy, and of course with a lot of them running at the path at the exact same time. And it gets worse at wave 10 when a boss engineer spawns that has 7,500 regular HP and like 3,000 shield HP, equaling to 10,000 10,000 HP, which is fucking crazy, dude. And of course, if you don't manage to kill them in time, you know, under the 30-second timer, the next wave will begin, and it will just start to literally snowball. As the very next wave, you are literally given a Pyromancer again, and then the next wave 2 of them, then the next wave 3 of them, and it gets worse and worse and worse. You come across later on a Necromancer boss at like wave 25 or something, and this man, oh my god, I cannot believe how many times I lost to this guy. He has a fuck ton of HP, and it feels like every 3 to 5 seconds he spawns a minion that has like 10,000 HP each, and he just consistently spams enemies. And of course, at this point, you need heavy DPS just all over the middle of the map, because if you don't, this man is gonna get by and just constantly spam enemies to go to the end of the map and just kill your ass. And if you thought that was bad, we finally have the final boss, who of course is not that bad actually. It was honestly a pretty fun time, especially, you know, getting to the final part. using the cannon at specific times and also just dealing a fuck ton of damage. But Jesus Christ, 2.5 million HP is fucking bonkers. And those are the whole Nights 3 summarized in a nutshell. Now let's go ahead and explain the two perspectives on this whole event, especially each night. The first perspective is mainly everyone saying it was honestly a good time. It was really fun, it was challenging, and it was honestly very good. And then there's the second perspective, mainly being people who were saying that this was way too hard and that they should really tone it down, especially coming up with the Christmas time event or whatnot. And I know you guys are asking which team I'm on. Well, it's pretty obvious, Team 2. Jesus Christ, dude, Night 3 did not need to take more than, what, 2 to 3 days just to beat it. Especially coming with randoms, okay? And I know some of you guys are already thinking in your head, well, that just sounds like a skill issue. Trust me, you have no idea what skill issue means when your teammates are literally NPCs for the most of the time. Now, obviously, if you have a team, this isn't really a big deal whatsoever. In fact, a little bit of people actually do get into squads and more or less just do it with friends and whatnot. However, the vast majority of the community and downright player base are all just loser, lonely people, just like myself. And we all have to rely on randoms. And Jesus Christ, these creatures named people in randoms should not be allowed to be playing any type of teammate games, okay? Because they have their own strategies and loadouts that barely make sense. Like, for an example, having military base in Night 3. I cannot believe how common that was, even though it barely even helped and most of the time killed us. But what's more worse is the achievements Paradox decided to add in. 2 of them, and in these 2 challenges you can earn a free band crate, which is what everyone wants to grab. However, one of these challenges I found out is basically impossible to complete with purely random players, because one of these challenges asks the players to only use every single tower without any hardcore or exclusive towers. However, this doesn't just mean for the person who's trying to get this achievement, but every single game. I found this out the hard way. I had to complete Night 3 hard mode with only using advanced and intermediate towers twice, because I thought it just bugged out and it didn't give me it, until I realized that every single person in the game must not be using any hardcore or exclusive towers for it to count just for me, which is absolutely horseshit, okay? Also, let's not forget about the fact that there are so many bugs in Night 3, as like, for an example, disconnecting and then your UI not even showing your towers, thus rendering you from completely just doing anything and screwing everyone over. The music not playing in Night 3 easy mode, that whole achievement system thing, which really needs to rework or fix. And what's worse, they haven't even done any rebalancing or downright any changes to the game since 1 whole week ago, which meaning that every single thing that everyone is complaining about, such as, you know, the glitches and bugs that are breaking the Night 3 and all of the other nights and just the general gameplay, have still remained unfixed, which I just find incredibly bizarre. But in the end, I think this event was honestly pretty fun, even though it was very infuriating many of the times because of just how insanely hard it got. But I do have to say, completing all 3 nights and getting a very strong tower in the end is honestly pretty worth it. And honestly, it's probably one of my favorite towers currently. And in all honesty, I think I'm giving this whole event probably a 7 out of 10. I quite enjoyed it. However, Jesus Christ, dude, you really need to calm down on the difficulty curve, because not everyone has friends in the end.